Hello and welcome to another installment of A Computers and Technology. Today we're going to be taking a look at this really dirty looking Dell Dimension 3000 I picked up at a garage sale for $3.50. This thing just looks absolutely nasty. Some of the ports are completely clogged with dust and I'm really scared to open it up because it's probably just a solid chunk of dust inside. Looks absolutely disgusting. Along with this, I also picked up a Dell Inspiron, what is it, a 530S for $3.50 as well from the same people. So it looks like this was their system before they upgraded to that Dell Inspiron 530S, and obviously since then they have replaced that Dell Inspiron 530S as well. Both of those systems look really disgusting, and I'm really worried about what we're gonna see when I open this thing up. But first, let's go ahead and take a look around the system. And I do apologize in advance for the audio. From this point on, it's going to be a little bit weird because I'm going to be walking a couple feet away from the microphone. I do plan on upgrading the microphone in the near future, but just haven't gotten to that yet. So I apologize in advance. I'll do my best to compensate for it in editing. By the way, I do plan on selling this system. I have absolutely no personal use for it. I actually decided not to sell that E-machine that we took a look at last week because I thought of a pretty good use for that, and I'll tell you my plans when I actually get to making the video about that in the near future. But this one's definitely going to be sold because, once again, I have absolutely no use for a machine like this. So starting from the front, you can see that the system is equipped with a CD/DVD-ROM drive. There's a couple cutouts right here for an additional drive and a floppy drive. We have our nice clunky power button right here. The Dell logo right below that. This panel actually doesn't pop out to give you access to the USB ports like some of the previous Dell Dimension models. The USB ports are actually placed right down here, and I'll give you guys a close-up of those USB ports because one of them is completely clogged with dust, and that's not really a good sign because that means the system has not been cleaned in a very long time, if at all. So taking a look at the sides now, you can see that they are pretty much 100% plain. There's some grips right here so you can actually pull the side panel off, and we have the Dell logo on this side as well. The other side is the exact same, minus the grips. We have the Dell logo, and on the bottom we can see that all four rubber feet are still intact, though it does appear that they have moved a little bit. And oh god, oh wow, okay, I'll give you guys a close-up of that. That looks absolutely disgusting. What in the world? Oh man, I'm not looking forward to cleaning this out because I do have to clean this out before I ship it because this is in no condition to ship. It is absolutely disgusting. Yeah, you can clearly see that this thing is completely clogged with dust. Oh, I just want to open this up and see what's inside. It's going to be so gross. And now we're just going to take a quick look at the back of the PVC, and then I'm actually going to open this thing up. I'm kind of looking forward to opening it up, and at the same time, I'm kind of dreading it because I know it's probably just going to be an absolute nightmare inside, and yeah, definitely going to have that cleaned up. So right here, you can see the outlet vent for our power supply, and of course, you can see the power supply unit, well, the back to power supply unit itself. For our ports, you can see we have a serial port, power load port for printing, VGA out. We have PS2 ports for a keyboard and mouse. Our audio jacks right here, 4 USB ports, and a Ethernet port all the way to the bottom right. As far as cards go, looks like there's only one card installed in this system, and that is a phone modem right here. And if you take a look at some of these ports, some of them are actually covered in dust as well, just like that USB port was in the front. So yeah, really dirty system. And I believe Pseudos was saying that some of these fans are really good. This is a Datech fan in here. I'm not sure if that's one of the good ones he was talking about. Pseudos, if you're watching, please let me know because, yeah, you left a comment on it. And I'm probably going to have to go back and read it because I don't remember which brands were good and which brands were eh. Alright, so here we go. This is the moment we've all been waiting for / dreading. This is going to be really interesting. But by the way, guys, if you like this video, please drop a like on the video. If you didn't like it, please tell me why. I always appreciate the feedback from you guys. So it appears there's just one little latch right here. I'm going to pull this back and then push the panel off. Okay, so that is exactly how it was supposed to work, and I can already see the dust coming out. Oh, okay, it's not as bad as I thought, but everything is coated in a pretty fine layer of dust. Okay, so it's not as bad as I thought, but it's still definitely what I would consider to be pretty filthy. I mean, just take a look at this CPU heatsink. That thing is completely clogged. If I lift up the shroud right now, oh my god, my hands are just covered in dust, and I can't get the shroud to come out. There we go. You can see that, yeah, it's not too bad. It kind of stops like right at the beginning, but all of this needs to be cleaned. As you can see, there's just dust all over the place, to the bottom of the case, all over the wires, clogging up the vents to the power supply, all over the hard drive for some reason. Looks like some came in here and coated everything up in the front. So I'm going to go ahead and put this through a quick cleaning before we go any further with this, because I just don't feel like messing with it when it's this dirty, and then I will get back to you guys. Alright, so I put the inside through a light cleaning, and it is a little bit better. There's still a lot of dust down in there, and I still have some cleaning to do before this can be shipped. But I want to take the front panel off on camera because it just looks disgusting in there, and I'm really curious to see what it's actually going to fall out. Looks like I might need 2 hands for this, so I'm going to drop the camera down right here. Get that in focus, and let's see what is... Oh, gosh. Okay. Nasty. Wow. Look at that. Look at that. That is gross. Oh, man. Wow. Yeah, this thing has never, ever seen a cleaning. Now that is much better. Not perfect, but a lot better than it was before. Something interesting is that this panel right here is actually just a flimsy little sticker so that this part blends in with the rest of the front of the case. And look, you can actually see both of our USB ports on the front now. One's not completely clogged with dust. And yes, I did go to the back as well and unclog all the ports on the back, all of our I/O ports that were clogged before. So now you can see those look almost as good as new. And we'll just take a quick look inside the system. As you can see, this is a pretty bare bones board. We'll start from the bottom and work our way up. We have 3 PCI slots right here, no eGPU unfortunately. Moving up, you can see the heat sinks for our North Bridge and our CPU. There's a Celeron CPU under it. Not really sure what it's clocked at or what model it is. We will have to look that up when we go into the BIOS. You can see a Dell power supply right here. Total max output of 250 watts. We have our RAM right here, which I will remove in just a second so we can see what exactly the system is using and how much RAM it actually has. We have a vertically mounted hard drive right here, which I will pull as well so we can see what kind of hard drive the system is using. And we have a date stamp stamped into the hard drive caddy, and that is, of course, the camera's not going to focus. There we go, manufactured on the 6th of July in 2005. Oh, it has one of those Maxtor Diamond Max drives in it. This thing's going to sound awesome when we power the system on, if it still works, and hopefully it does still work. This is 80 gigabytes in capacity, and then, oh, I said gigabytes, kind of funny, forgive me. But right below that, we have a single stick of 512 megabyte DDR400 RAM. No, not DDR4, DDR400, which is DDR RAM running at 400 megahertz. And the great thing about this is that all the capacitors on the board still look great. I've been really lucky lately because I haven't run into any systems with blown capacitors, and that's a lot less work for me because that means I don't have to pull the board, find a capacitor replacement, and actually take the time to replace it. This makes things a lot easier, and if you look down here, it appears the capacitors next to the heatsink are all solid-state capacitors, so that is that's pretty awesome right there. And now, here comes the fun part. Let's see if this system actually works. I have everything hooked up except for the computer itself. I have not plugged it in yet. The plug is right here, and we are going to plug this in for the first time and see if anything goes bang. And I'm going to do it in real time, so no cuts or anything. So here we go. Alright, so it is plugged in. Nothing exploded. I'm just going to hit the power button. Ooh, there goes that Maxtor hard drive, and do we get a post screen? Is the monitor on? Well, there we go. Looks like the system is working. My monitor wasn't plugged in properly, so I had to wiggle the power cable a little bit, and now you can see that there is a copy of Windows XP Home Edition already installed on this system, and you guys probably can't hear me very well, so give me a sec. Alright, so let's get into the BIOS now. There we go. Hopefully I made it in time, and I did. So right here, we are in the BIOS, and you can see that we have an Intel Celeron processor running at 2.66 gigahertz inside here. I was afraid the clock speed would be a bit lower, but that might make things pretty usable. That's going to be a single-core processor, but still, at 2.66 gigahertz, we're probably going to be able to do some basic office tasks, browse the web, stuff like that, even with these integrated graphics. It looks like I can get a little bit more information down here, so I'm going to pan down and hit CPU information. So CPU speed normal. Can I change that? No, I can't. Okay, so bus speed 533 megahertz. L2 cache size 256 kilobytes. Nothing too interesting. If I move up to the memory information, we already saw this. It appears that this memory is actually running at 333 megahertz instead of the labeled 400 megahertz. Is there anything else really interesting? Well, this is interesting. Apparently, you can actually change that value. You can switch it from normal to compatible. So I'm not sure what exactly that does. I mean, it's not like we're going to be able to overclock this or anything, but I wonder what compatibility speed does. That's interesting. Okay, so let's see if I can get into that Windows install. I wonder if it's password protected. So I'm going to discard changes and exit, and we'll see if we can get into the desktop. Now, there's nothing super interesting on this user profile. It looks like it belonged to a little girl, so I can't show any of that personal information. That's just really strange. Someone was like, well, why don't you show us all of their stuff and go through it and talk about it? I'm like, no, that's really weird and disrespectful, and I'd rather just wipe the system and cleanse it of all of their personal information, because that's a liability that I don't want to deal with. But yes, there is pinball on this machine. I don't know why Microsoft stopped putting pinball on Windows. They still put, Solitaire and Minesweeper and everything else, but they don't put pinball on Windows anymore. I love pinball so much. Oh man, I could stay on this all day. Every time I get a Windows XP machine, I actually open up pinball and just play it for a couple of minutes, because I just like it so much. Now I'm just going to scroll through Device Manager and take a look at some additional system hardware information, and then I'm going to put DBAN in this machine and wipe all this personal information off the system and put a lightweight Linux distribution on it. It's not that Windows XP runs bad on this, but I would like to get something a little bit more up to date on this system. I mean, overall, the Windows XP installation is definitely responsive. I'll just pop open some programs right here, and they open up almost instantly, so I'm actually pretty surprised with performance. Losing it there. With performance, overall performance is definitely pretty snappy for a system like this. I'll just pop open our task manager, and as you can see, I'll drag the window around here, and it's starting to lag around a little bit. But overall, system resource consumption isn't too bad. Definitely a pretty responsive little system, and I can't wait to see how a lightweight Linux distro would actually run on this. I'm going to close out this. I don't care. Wait, is that MySpace as the home page? Oh my god, the home page is set to MySpace. Wow, that's that's probably the most comedic thing we're going to see in this video. I'm going to maximize this. There we go, and now you can just take a look at some of the system information. Let me get behind the camera and make sure that's in focus. There we go, so now you can see all of our system information. Most of this we have gone over already. You can see that Maxtor drive, our integrated graphics, 82865G integrated graphics controller, and I'll scroll down here slowly and let you guys take a look at everything else. There's nothing too interesting. And going down here, nope, I don't really see anything. We've seen all this before, so yeah, if you want to, you can pause the video and read all that off, but I'm not going to stick on it too long. So let's go ahead, wipe this machine, and get a Linux distro on it. I am really not liking the way the CPU heatsink is mounted onto the board. It's really awkward. I've been trying to get it off, and I'm just afraid that's going to break. It's held in by plastic clips, and plastic clips are never really a good thing for me, because I usually end up breaking them. So I think I'm just going to end up leaving this on here and not reapplying thermal paste. It should be fine. I'm just not going to say that in the eBay description that I did. I would have liked to reapply thermal paste, but I just can't get it off. I'm afraid I'm going to break it, and that's not something I want to do. Yeah, this is just, I don't know, it's just really awkward the way they designed this. It's like they don't want you to take the CPU heatsink off. It's kind of silly. So I've completed wiping the hard drive using dband, and I have installed Xubuntu 16.04, and overall performance is nothing to awe at. It's okay, it gets the job done, but it's nothing impressive like it was with that e-machine that I took a look at in the last installment of the garage sale finds. I was really impressed with that little Semprod machine. With this, you can open up basic office programs. You can do a little bit of web browsing, browse around your files, but that's really about it. We're pretty limited, especially considering that we only have 512 megabytes of RAM on this system. So I'll just start popping open some programs right now, open up an instance of LibreOffice Writer, and try to manipulate some text. As you can see, programs do take a little bit long to open. That Maxtor hard drive is a bit sluggish. Not the fastest thing in the world. Gets the job done as far as office tasks are concerned, and it is pretty pleasant to use, but it's definitely not a speed demon. So, hello YouTube. YouTube are a good old generic phrase, and I really don't want to stay on the general use test too long because it's going to get boring real quick. I'm trying to speed by this as fast as I can, so we're just going to manipulate the font color, make it pink. So I'm going to minimize that. We'll try to do some multitasking as well. So I'll pop open an instance of LibreOffice Calc to go along with that. And by the way, I have updated this to all of the latest updates and latest upgrades. So we'll go into the terminal now. Just pop open an instance of terminal. Open up the file manager too. So not too bad at multitasking. And while I'm doing this, I should probably open up the task manager to show you guys the resource consumption. So overall resource consumption isn't too bad right now, considering that we have a couple programs open. We're only using 33% of that 512 megabytes of RAM, and we're using some of our swap space as well. I'm going to pop open an instance of Firefox. I would use something a bit lighter like Midori or Cupzilla, but for some reason now I'm having trouble with Cupzilla on this system. And I've just kind of given up on Midori. I really liked Midori, but on 16.04, it crashes a lot. And I just got fed up with it, so gonna have to wait for Midori to improve on that because I just can't use it. It crashes too much. It gets on my nerves. And I'm gonna see what's up with Cupzilla. I'm gonna see if I can get Cupzilla on the system, but earlier I was having issues with it. So I'll just navigate over to the archive site. And by the way, guys, HD images will be up on the archive site. So www.aacatarchives.com. And it doesn't matter if it's caps or not. There we go. And we're on the archive site, so scroll along here. Definitely not really a speed demon when it comes to web browsing. Yeah, pretty jumpy right there when we try to scroll through the page. I'll try to open up a couple tabs. I tried to play back YouTube videos on this, and it definitely wasn't a pleasant experience. I'll do that right now, and I'll probably going to cut it a couple times because it just takes too long to load stuff up. So these integrated graphics can handle some standard definition video playback. I have it set to 480p right now, and it's doing an alright job. It's jumping here and there, dropping some frames here and there, but overall, not too bad. It is watchable, but if you bump it up to HD, forget about it. It just lags out. The whole system starts to lock up, and yeah, it's not going to be able to play back HD video. So I'm going to close out this, and we will navigate to my primary site. And then I'm going to open up a game, and then we're going to call it as far as the demonstration is concerned, because there's not too much here to check out. Alright, so aacomputers.technology.com. Now, load times are not atrocious. It's alright. And I'll try to scroll through here. You will see that it is pretty jumpy. I'm scrolling right now and it's not doing anything. So jumping all over the place, not really scrolling too well, and the browser is starting to lock up just a little bit. So it is capable of web browsing, but it's definitely not a pleasant experience. And if I open up the task manager, you can see that we're using a pretty significant majority of our swaps. So that's also contributing to the slowdown of the system. Without the swap space, we'd be out of memory right now. So yeah, 512 megabytes isn't really enough. I'm going to go in the back and see if I have another stick of 512 megabyte of DDR RAM. I think I'm using all of them though. The only thing I have in the back that's laying around is PC133 or PC100 SD RAM, unfortunately. So I think we might be stuck with the single stick of 512 megabytes of DDR400. And if anyone is curious, the screen resolution is set to 1366 by 768. And right now I'm just going to demo one more application, and that is going to be a game. We're going to play Neverball. I demoed this in the last installment of Garage Sale Finds. It's a pretty fun little game, not too graphic intensive, and it ran really well on that Celeron machine, but as you can see, not doing too well on this machine. I'll go into the graphics settings right now, and we want to configure those, and you can see that our resolution is 800 by 600. Now VSync is on, anti-aliasing is off, and you can read everything else. I'm going to go back, and we're going to just play one game, easy, and level 1. So let's try this. Is it playable? Probably not. You know what, actually, it's not too bad. There we go. We're starting to drop some frames now. Yeah, now we're starting to lose it. We're probably getting maybe at most 13 frames per second, maybe 10. You can see that it is dropping frames here and there, especially when we pick up the coins, and it has to do that tiny little star animation. So I'm not taking this game too well. I mean, I guess it's playable. But yeah, you can see that the graphics capabilities aren't, you know, this computer's strong suit. Alright, okay. No, I don't want to go in there. Okay. Yeah, and it's really hard to play this with all those frames dropping. At this point, I'm just putting the icing on the cake. I went ahead and secured some cables that were just flapping around using these Velcro cable ties, which I really like. If you guys want to check these out, the link for these will be in the description because they are really handy for cable management. And then now I'm just going to clean the outside of the case, and then this thing should be ready to ship. And as you can see, it is now much cleaner inside this case. I mean, I actually don't see any dust. Yeah, it's nice and clean now and ready to go. That's going to be about it for this video, guys, and I just realized I forgot to oil the rear exhaust fan. I'm going to do that right after I finish recording this video. If you like this video, my name is Braxton. If you didn't like this video, my name is Linus. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can go ahead and post a comment in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you want to support me, you can use my Amazon or eBay affiliate links. You can also support me by checking out my Patreon. All those links will be in the description. And of course, please do not forget to drop a like on the Facebook page. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next installment of A Computers and Technology.